Moynihan to address safety issues with regard to the N22 between Macroom and Ballincolling. The Deputy has 4 minutes. Opening statement.
Minister, the section of the N22 between Ballincolling and Macroom, it has the worst safety record of that entire road, with many difficulties, people especially turning right on the road. There have been numerous accidents and many fatalities, unfortunately. And Minister, there needs to be a follow-up with the TII to see what kind of action can be taken to make that road safer for people who are joining into the N22 or leaving it along that section of road. There are similar issues further west, but the bypass of Macroom, that section of road, will address those. But this section of road, there's 23,000 traffic each day coming out onto the bypass, and many thousands more joining it from Ballincollig. And there's considerable difficulty for people who, for example, would be turning off right at Kilcondy or into Clodove or Castlemore, for example, because they're sitting exposed in the middle of the road, and they're in a straight section of road where there's very fast traffic. And there needs to be some action taken on it. These are issues that have been highlighted repeatedly by councillors, myself when I was in council, Councillor Goblet Moynihan, and various other public representatives have raised it. Also, Minister, the R585, it's a key access route for West Cork, and that's bringing a whole load of traffic up in through Coppeen and on to Crookstown, and they're looking to join the N22 at Stage Cross and also at Castlemore. And they're stuck queuing, trying to get onto the road and turn right to go on towards Cork. It's very frustrating for them, so you often see that there might be somebody taking a chance, and it's dangerous on the road. Some of that traffic then, they even, instead of going out onto the N22, they'll go back the local road through Clodove, Aherla and Kilumney, and of course they're putting on further pressure traffic going through those villages as well. So there's a knock-on effect. You need to look at the possibility of improving that junction, Minister, and there's an awful lot of space available there by the County Council. They own all around that junction, and it is a real option, and you should take a look at it and raise it with TII about the possibility of having a roundabout at that junction. It would make it much safer. You're going to have to do some work there anyway, because the surface of the road is failing, and there's going to be some work needed there pretty soon anyway. Another major issue, Minister, is further east on the bypass of Ballincollig itself and the off-ramps at Powlavone and Greenfields, these junctions. For several hundred metres of that road, you have traffic queuing in the evening, out on to the hard shoulder and out on the road, and immediately beside them there's traffic heading westward at 120 kilometres an hour. It's highly dangerous, and people are very concerned there. And you need to look at the possibility of having extra lane space there for traffic who are leaving that road, the Ballincollig bypass, and turning off into Ballincollig itself. Minister, need to look at the different options and follow up with TII about making it safer for people who are joining the N22 or who are leaving the N22 in that section of road between Ballincollig and Macroom. It's the most dangerous section of the road. The figures are available. Unfortunately, there have been so many fatalities and also many serious road crashes on it, and every effort should be made to make that road safer.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you very much indeed, Giancarlo, and I'd like to thank Deputy Moynihan for raising this very important subject, which I know is a matter of life and death, which makes it very, very vital and very relevant at the moment. As Minister for Transport, Tourism and Sport, I have responsibility for overall policy and funding in relation to the National Roads Programme. The planning, design and implementation of individual national road projects is a matter for the TII under the Roads Acts 1993 to 2015, in conjunction with the local authorities concerned. Ireland has just under 100,000 kilometres of road in its network, and the maintenance and improvement of national, regional and local roads places a substantial financial burden on local authorities and on the Exchequer. Because of the national financial position, there were very large reductions in Exchequer funding available for roads expenditure after the financial crisis. the Building on Recovery Capital Plan 2016 to 21 and the Capital Plan Review allocations mark a significant step forward in terms of restoring funding to the levels needed to maintain the road network in a steady state condition and to allow for investment in road improvement schemes. Within its capital budget, the assessment and prioritisation of individual projects is a matter in the first instance for TII in accordance with Section 19 of the Roads Act. Minor improvement schemes were included in the road safety strategy. TII is maintaining an ongoing rolling programme of minor projects. To date, 42 minor schemes have been completed. Available funding has allowed TII to maintain delivery on a minimum of 4 schemes each year and to prepare additional schemes on an ongoing basis. TII advised me that the authority envisaged continuing to undertake a minimum of 4 schemes a year. I also understand from TII that on the section of the N22 to which the Deputy refers, one accident site has been identified at Castlemore through the HD15 process. The HD15 process involves the recording of accident clusters and the identification of locations where accident statistics are above average. The local authority has been notified of this accident location and been requested to prepare a feasibility report suggesting appropriate interventions to improve safety. Once prepared, it will be submitted to TII for consideration for an appropriate course of action and possible funding. On receipt of an acceptable feasibility report, funding may be provided by TII for any work required to improve safety on the national road, including this junction. As the Deputy has referred to traffic to and from local and regional roads to the N22, I can outline that the improvement and maintenance of regional and local roads in Cork is the statutory responsibility of Cork County Council in accordance with the provisions of Section 13 of the Roads Act 1993. Works on those roads are funded from the Council's own resources, supplemented by state road grants. The initial selection and prioritisation of works to be funded is also a matter for the Council. Cork County Council has the authority to provide traffic calming measures on roads in their charge. In reality, there are many competing demands across the system, but overall we are moving in the right direction. I know that TII and local authorities will continue to maintain a focus on network safety.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Moynihan has further 2 minutes.
Minister, first of all, I want to acknowledge what you're saying about Castlemore Cross, because it is known as one of the more dangerous sections of the road, and it's good that there's a plan or an effort to progress things there. But Minister, there's so many other sections of the road that need to be addressed, and the low-cost safety schemes, as the name suggests, they're smaller scale. There's bigger solutions that are needed at those different areas that I've identified to you. For example, on the Ballincolling bypass, the traffic queuing on the off-ramp, that's a much bigger scale job that's needed to be dealt with, and the scale of funding, if there is to be an extra lane or even to do works, you need to highlight that with TII. Furthermore, on the western end at Stage Cross, because again, this is something that would be much more expensive than the small-scale works, but it would offer so much more safety on the road, and it is something that TII should be examining, and I'd like if you could raise it with them, the possibility of building a roundabout there. The land is already owned by the County Council. You have a big fleet of traffic coming up from West Cork. It is the main access route for West Cork, and it is very difficult and dangerous at that point. Also, the issue of the Kilcondy junction immediately adjacent to it has been highlighted repeatedly with TII, and it would offer an opportunity of a solution there. Minister, there needs to be an overall look at that section of road between Ballincollig and Macroom by TII to see a whole number of issues that could be dealt with, and if they can do a complete review of it to make it safer, and if they could report back on it. Minister, I'd appreciate if you would raise it with them and impress it on them because of the large scale of injuries, accidents and unfortunately fatalities that have occurred on that road. Minister, if you could raise it with TII to get them to address it.
I'd like to thank the Deputy for that. I wonder if he could provide me with some detailed statistics about where the accidents have happened, particularly fatalities, collisions, on that road, I'd be delighted to pass them on. Obviously, the TIA have some details because they've already identified one place in Castlemore there, and will be acting accordingly. But if what the deputy says is true, it's very worrying, it's very concerning, and I'd be very happy if you could provide some statistics on that road, some added statistics. I'd certainly be happy to address that. As the deputy, I think, will be aware, the government is totally and utterly committed to, I suppose elimination is impossible, but further dramatic reduction in the deaths and collisions on our roads, and we'll do everything we possibly can to tackle this tragic problem. The TII, as you say, is only one part of that equation, and indeed it's doing some very good work in identifying black spots, which is obviously going to be part of the saving lives. The government itself I've introduced legislation which I hope has helped on drink driving, and I intend to introduce further legislation on speeding, which are two of the main killers, which are the two principal killers on our roads, and that is something which I hope will add to the reduction in the loss of lives which has occurred last year, and the numbers which we're getting this year, which are again down, but not down, of course, enough, because they'll never be down enough. But in the light of what you said, I think that if you've identified an area which is prone to accidents for various reasons, yes, I'll be very happy to raise it with TII and pass on any information which you give me, not just the debate, but if you give me additional information as well, I think it'd be very helpful.